So if you're anything like me, you've probably been playing Elden Ring a lot in the last month, and, well, I'm addicted. Like, I can't put this game down. I have been trying to. I've beaten the game almost 4 times. And that's because it's just so fun and so full of things to do, but it's also because it's frustrating. And I figured, why not make the game more frustrating? The challenge today is to beat the game without ever drinking a potion. Of any kind. Ever. This is part of a series, so if you like this episode and the one before it, leave a comment, like, and subscribe, and let's head right in. So where we last left off, I had just made it to the Round Table Hold, which is a main hub for the player and a place where I can upgrade and make preparations for further journeys, which is what today's episode is all about. Preparation. I've got a big laundry list of things that I have to do, mainly getting the icon shield, which will take more work than I'd like to admit, and then we can head into Stormvale Castle and hopefully take down Godric the Grafted. The first thing on my list is to go to the Gatefront Ruins and hop down into this little basement here through the door and grab the Iron Wet Knife. This is going to allow me to put Ashes of War on my weapons, or just like weapon skills, and it's going to be important to have later on, and I'd rather get it out of the way right now. Next, I'm going to go down to the lower portion of the map and run past this caravan of enemies to pick up the Morning Star weapon out of the back of this wagon. I'll get to that in a minute why we need it, but just know that we need it. Now that those two things are out of the way, it's time to go get the Icon Shield, and I'll explain everything we need to do so you understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. First of all, the Icon Shield is located here in a later region of the game, and the only way to reach that point right now is to use something called the Grand Lift of Dectus. But it's not as simple as just going there and pressing a button. The Grand Lift of Dectus requires 2 halves of the Dectus medallion to activate, and they are located in very separate parts of the map. So the first one we're going to get is the left half, and that is located here in Fort Height in the southern part of the map. And all I really have to do for that is ride up to Fort Height, dodge some enemies, climb this ladder, and grab it out of the chest. Pretty simple. Now let's go grab the right half. Right half of the medallion is located here at Fort Feyroth in the eastern portion of the map, but it's pretty dangerous to go there just by horseback, so we're actually going to use another trap chest located in the basement of the Dragon Burnt Ruins to take us about halfway there, and then it'll be a lot easier to get there quickly. All we really need to do once we're in the eastern portion is to follow this smoldering wall until we cross this little ravine, and when it says Dragon Barrow, we know we're in the right place. Next, we just head east past this really massive dragon and get the Sight of Grace behind him. Then we head into Fort Feyroth, and we're actually going to grab 2 items here. Once we go up the ladder, we're going to grab the right half of the medallion, and we're actually going to sneak into this little basement here to grab Radagon's Scar Seal, which is a really awesome talisman that gives us +5 to dexterity, strength, vigor, and endurance. Another big boost that we're going to use later on when we have more slots. Now it's time to put that Morning Star that we grabbed earlier to use. You see, the Morning Star has the bleed status effect, which deals a portion of an enemy's maximum health whenever you proc it, and we're going to use that to kill this big dragon here. Because while this dragon is massive and has a ton of health, he can't really move. And there's certain areas that you can find to attack him where the surrounding dragons won't be able to get to you. It takes a little while, but once all's said and done, you get about 70,000 runes, which is going to give us a way to boost our strength and our endurance so we can equip the Icon Shield and anything else that we're going to pick up. At this point, I've done everything that I want to do before heading up to grab the Icon Shield, so we're going to make our way there and traverse this little drop down, make our way past some enemies, and finally we are at the Grand Lift of Dectus. It feels like all that work is finally coming to fruition. While I activate the Grand Lift and we watch this cutscene, I do want to say thank you guys so much for watching the first episode and continuing to hopefully watch more. This has been so much fun, the amount of thought and all the planning that's gone into just getting the items to move forward with this run. So I hope to give you better episodes to come, and hopefully everything goes well. Alright, now that we're finally here, it's time to get what we came for. It's just a matter of going to the northeast, marking the Woodfolk ruins, and going to grab the icon shield while dodging all the enemies in the forest. And there it is, the icon shield. All that hard work has paid off. So you must be thinking, well, we're done. All the laundry list is complete. We're ready to take on Godric the Grafted. Well, actually, there's one more item we have to grab, and that's called the Great Stars. It's in the back of this little caravan of enemies, and this is probably going to be our final weapon for the run. It is a two-handed mace that restores health every time we land a successful hit, so you can imagine how that's going to be useful for this run. And now, after about 2 hours of running around and gathering items, I finally have everything I need to feel comfortable moving forward. So I'm going to equip all of that, and we are going to move into Stormveil Castle. So something I noticed when I was equipping all this gear is that when I have the shield and the Great Stars, I have a heavy equipment load, which is not really ideal. It makes me move a little slower, and it makes my rolls really slow. So I'm going to equip the shield on and off only when I want the passive health regen. Also, right before heading into Stormveil Castle, I went back to the Round Table Hold to start Rodrika's questline, which allows me to upgrade my summons, and also to talk to Corrin here and buy the heal spell and possibly some fortification spells. Godric uses a lot of fire magic, and I wanted to have a spell in case it proved to be really bad, and I wanted the upgrade heal in case I needed something a little more potent. And finally, before heading in, I killed Gostok, this guy at the beginning that lets you know that you can use the side entrance. What most people don't know is this guy also follows you around the castle and steals your runes every time you die, and he also locks you in this room that you have to progress through. And I really didn't want to fight the Banished Knight in that room, so I just go ahead and beat him to death right here. Now, I've gone ahead and sped it up because Stormveil Castle is something that, I expect if you're watching this video, you've already been through once. So I just stop off at all the checkpoints, clear out any of the enemies I need to progress, and I'll actually show you a kind of quick route that I take to get to the nearest site of grace as fast as possible. I know that I'm missing a lot of items and probably a lot of XP, but I'm also just not that worried about it because I have the items that I need for most part of the run. And then once I do this skip and get to this site of grace, I need to go talk to Nefeli Lu. She's someone that I want to summon to fight Godric with me. I'm going to do the same strategy I did with Margit, summon one NPC and summon the jellyfish, and hopefully it should be an easy fight. And here you can also see me using the shield just when I need it to heal my health bar back up to full, and then continue on. You can see it's pretty slow, but it also gets the job done, which is all we really need. So then we talk to Nefeli Lu, and we run past this giant, and that is all we really need before we go fight Godric the Grafted. I summon Nefeli, and I prepare myself mentally. I'm going to skip the cutscene for you guys and show you the fight. So you're going to see that we have the same plan of attack that we did when we fought Margit, which is to let our NPCs tank a lot of the hits while we find opportunities to get in. Godric's definitely a different boss fight than Margit. He's got a lot of AoE attacks, and he's really designed to punish melee users. But like I said, I beat this game with only a bow, and Godric was one of the longest boss fights that I had to spend time on, so I'm pretty well versed in it. And right here he goes into his second phase, and his second phase is when he's going to use a lot of fire attacks and even more AoE. So this is why I picked up the fire negation spell. Thankfully I didn't have to use it. But also the second phase is the scariest part because this is usually when your NPCs die. You can see his health bar is super low here, but when I take this hit I get really scared and I need to back off, find my opportunity, and finish him. Now, I've got to admit, it's a little anticlimactic that I beat the first two main bosses on my first try, but it's also proving to make me really hopeful about this run, and that's where we're going to end it for this episode. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.